Ever feel like the universe is this giant mysterious puzzle?
Mm-hmm.
Well, get ready to piece together some mind-blowing connections
Okay.
because we're diving deep into Francois Rodier's The Thermodynamics of Evolution.
Okay.
We're talking about how energy,
Yeah.
entropy,
Mm-hmm.
and information are the secret ingredients in evolution's recipe,
Right.
from the Big Bang all the way to human societies.
What's fascinating is that Rodier argues energy isn't just something life uses, it's the driving force behind how everything evolves.
So instead of just thinking about survival of the fittest, we're looking at a bigger picture
Yeah.
where energy is calling the shots.
Exactly. Rodier suggests that life itself is a dissipative structure,
Okay.
just like those swirling patterns you see in a heated pan of water.
So we're all just highly organized swirls of energy.
Yeah.
I'm strangely okay with that.
Yeah.
But how does entropy, that whole universe tending towards disorder thing, fit in?
It's true that entropy measures how energy degrades, and that gives us the direction of time. But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Living things actually minimize their internal entropy.
Wait, so while the universe is becoming more chaotic overall, life is like, nope, not in my house,
Right.
and gets more organized.
Right.
How's that work?
By taking in information from their environment. Think about it. A single-celled organism needs to constantly adapt to changes in temperature, light, food sources.
Right.
That's all information. As life gets more complex, it develops even better ways to collect and use information.
Right.
Senses, brains, the works.
So a single-celled organism is taking in basic info to survive, while something like a human brain is a masterclass in information processing.
Right.
And this is all connected to minimizing entropy.
Precisely. We are exquisitely organized to find energy and use it in ways that ensure our survival.
This is blowing my mind wide open here.
Yeah.
We've got energy driving evolution,
Yeah.
entropy pushing the arrow of time, and information is the key to staying organized.
Right.
So how does this play out on a cosmic scale?
Okay.
How does Rodier connect all this to the universe itself?
Get ready for the ultimate zoom out.
Okay.
Rodier argues that from the Big Bang onward, the universe acts like a giant dissipative structure.
Okay.
Imagine galaxies forming, stars igniting, planets condensing,
Yeah.
all as ways to dissipate energy more and more efficiently.
So instead of those little swirls in our water analogy, we're talking about galaxies swirling across space, all in the name of maximizing entropy production.
Precisely. It's a mind-boggling concept.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
While the universe might be trending towards disorder overall,
Okay.
pockets of increasing complexity, like life on Earth, can still emerge.
So life is like, yeah, universe, you do you, but I'm over here building something amazing.
Right.
Which brings up another point.
All right.
How did life even get started amidst all this cosmic chaos?
That's where Rodier suggests those fascinating hydrothermal vents might hold a clue.
The ones spewing hot, chemical-rich water from the ocean floor?
Yeah.
Those are teeming with some of the weirdest life forms imaginable.
And they might just be the key. Think about early Earth. Harsh conditions, a young, dimmer sun. But down in those vents, you have a readily available, consistent source of chemical energy.
Right.
Perfect for early life.
Like the universe's version of a drive-through for those first energy-hungry life forms.
Right.
And from there, life just kept finding new ways to utilize energy, eventually leading to the incredible diversity we see today.
Right.
But didn't Rodier say cooperation played a big role in all this too?
Absolutely. While competition gets a lot of attention,
Okay.
Rodier highlights the incredible power of cooperation in driving evolution forward.
Okay.
Even those tiny, single-celled bacteria exhibit collective intelligence.
Hold up, bacteria. Being smart. Tell me more.
It's true. Rodier describes bacterial colonies engaging in this intricate dance of information exchange. They send chemical signals, sense their surroundings, and even develop strategies as a group to maximize their energy use,
Okay.
like a miniature brain processing information and adapting.
So instead of picturing individual bacteria duking it out,
Right.
we should imagine them more like a colony of ants, each playing a role in the success of the whole.
That's a great analogy.
Okay.
And Rodier argues that this type of cooperation is woven into the fabric of evolution,
Right.
from those early bacterial colonies to the complex ecosystems we see today.
Right.
In fact, he says that humans took this cooperation to a whole new level with the rise of culture.
So we're talking big brains, language, the
Yeah.
whole shebang.
Yeah.
How did that change the game? We left off talking about how humans kind of upped the ante when it comes to cooperation through culture.
Right.
We're not just exchanging chemical signals like bacteria anymore.
Right.
We're talking language, art, technology.
Right.
We've created this whole other layer of information sharing.
Exactly. And that's what allows human societies to act like these giant, energy-hungry brains, according to Rodier.
Mm.
We pass information down not just through our genes, but through learning and teaching.
Right.
It's like a whole new type of inheritance that has become a major force in human evolution.
So our ability to build on the knowledge of those who came before us,
Yeah.
to learn from each other's successes and failures,
Yeah.
that's what's allowed us to become the dominant species on the planet.
Yeah,
It's kind of a double-edged sword when you think about it.
precisely.
Okay.
Rodier points to some pretty sobering historical examples to illustrate this point.
Okay.
Civilizations, even those as seemingly invincible as the Roman Empire, are not immune to collapse.
It makes you wonder if we're just repeating the same mistakes on a larger and larger scale.
Yeah.
Are we headed for a similar fate?
Rodier doesn't just point out the potential for collapse.
Okay.
He suggests that it can be a chance for renewal,
Right.
paving the way for new systems to emerge.
So it's not necessarily the end,
Right.
but maybe just a new beginning,
Yeah.
a chance for humanity to hit the reset button and try again.
That's a great way to think about it.
Okay.
Just like a forest fire can clear the way for new growth,
Right.
collapse, while often seen as a negative event, can be an opportunity for a fresh start.
It's a reminder that change can be a powerful force,
Yeah.
even in its most destructive forms.
Right.
But what makes Rodier's work so fascinating is that he doesn't see these cycles of collapse and renewal as random events, right?
You're exactly right.
Okay.
He connects them back to those same thermodynamic principles driving evolution at every scale,
Right.
that constant push and pull of energy and entropy.
Okay.
He argues that as systems become more complex,
Right.
they become less efficient at using energy,
Okay.
and that's when things start to break down.
So it's like those swirling patterns in the water
Yeah.
getting more erratic and chaotic as the system strains to maintain its structure.
A perfect analogy. And this applies to human societies, too.
Oh?
Think about the increasing complexity of our global systems,
Right.
our reliance on fragile supply chains,
Right.
and the constant pressure for unsustainable economic growth.
It's a lot to manage,
Yeah.
and it does feel like something has to give eventually.
Right.
Are there any signs that we might be approaching a breaking point?
Rodier points to things like resource depletion,
Oh.
environmental degradation,
Right.
and even the rise of social unrest as potential indicators that our current way of life might not be sustainable in the long run.
It's a sobering thought for sure.
Yeah.
But knowing what we know about these cycles of collapse and renewal,
Right.
is there anything we can do to make this potential transition less disruptive?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is where Rodier's insights on the future of energy become so crucial.
Okay.
He argues that how we produce and consume energy will ultimately determine the fate of our civilization.
So we're talking about shift away from fossil fuels and towards renewable energy sources like solar and wind.
Right.
That seems like a logical step,
Yeah.
but I'm guessing it's not that simple.
It's a step in the right direction, for sure,
Okay.
but it's going to require fundamental change in our thinking.
Right.
Our entire global economy is built on the idea of constant growth,
Right.
fueled by cheap energy.
So moving towards a more sustainable future would require a complete overhaul of the way we do things.
Yeah,
That's pretty tall order.
it is.
Yeah.
But Rodier believes it's possible.
Okay.
He suggests that instead of chasing endless growth,
Right.
we need to learn to live within our means,
Huh?
using energy more efficiently and creating a more circular economy.
Okay.
Think about it like maintaining a balanced ecosystem rather than constantly trying to extract more and more from it.
So it's about changing our relationship with energy from one of consumption and depletion
Exactly.
to one of balance and sustainability.
And while this transition might seem daunting,
Right.
Rodier suggests it might not be entirely voluntary.
What do you mean? Are you suggesting that something might force us to change our ways?
It's certainly a possibility.
Okay.
Rodier points to the depletion of fossil fuel reserves
Right.
and the increasing instability of our current energy systems as potential catalysts for change.
That's a bit of a wake-up call, to say the least.
Yeah,
But even if we do face a global energy crisis,
right.
isn't there a risk that we'll just repeat the same patterns,
Yeah,
just with different energy sources?
it's a valid concern. However, Rodier remains cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
He believes that even in the face of such a crisis,
Okay.
human ingenuity and cooperation could help us navigate towards a more sustainable path.
Okay.
He envisions a future with decentralized renewable energy systems,
Right.
stronger local communities,
Right.
and a renewed focus on social equity.
So there's hope yet,
Right.
but it sounds like we're going to need to make some big changes and fast.
Yeah.
This has definitely given me a lot to think about,
Yeah.
and I'm sure our listeners are feeling the same way.
Yeah.
This feels like a good place to pause our deep dive for a moment and come back to unpack some of Rodier's specific thoughts on what this more sustainable future might look like. We're back for the final part of our deep dive into the thermodynamics of evolution by Francois Rodier. It's been quite a journey from the Big Bang to bacteria,
Yeah.
but we've arrived at what might be the most crucial part of the story. What does all this mean for the future of humanity?
Rodier doesn't shy away from the big questions, does he? He really wants us to understand that the same forces shaping the universe are playing out right here, right now, in our societies.
And we left off talking about how energy, specifically our use of it,
Right.
could be the defining challenge for our civilization.
Yeah.
Kind of fitting, right?
Yeah.
Given that energy is the underlying driver of evolution in the first place.
It is. And Rodier paints a picture of a future where decentralized, renewable energy systems become essential, not just for the health of the planet, but for our social structures as well.
So less reliance on those big power plants and fossil fuels.
Right.
More solar panels on rooftops, wind farms, things like that.
Exactly. He sees a shift towards more localized energy production as a way to build resilience, not just against climate change, but against the kind of systemic fragility that comes with our current globalized energy systems.
It's interesting because he's tying this back to those cycles of collapse and renewal we were talking about earlier. It's like,
Yeah.
by distributing our energy production, we're creating a more adaptable system, one that's less likely to collapse entirely.
That's a great insight. He argues that more localized systems can adjust more easily to change.
Right.
It's like the difference between a massive centralized computer network and a distributed one.
Okay,
If one part of a distributed network goes down, the others can keep functioning.
makes sense. But this isn't just about technology, is it? Rodier seems to be implying that this energy transition has the potential to change our values as a society.
Absolutely. He suggests that a shift to renewable energy could lead to a renewed focus on things like community resilience,
Right.
local production, and a more equitable distribution of resources.
So it's not just about swapping out fossil fuels for solar panels. It's about rethinking our entire relationship with energy and each other.
Precisely. Rodier challenges us to imagine a future where, instead of constantly striving for endless economic growth, we prioritize sustainability, cooperation, and the well-being of both people and the planet.
It's a pretty radical vision when you think about it.
It is. But I have to say, after spending this time diving deep into his ideas, it doesn't feel like just a utopian fantasy. It feels like a real possibility and maybe even a necessity, given the challenges we're facing.
I agree. And while Rodier acknowledges that the road ahead will be challenging, he remains ultimately hopeful about the potential for human ingenuity and cooperation to see us through.
Right.
He sees our capacity for cultural evolution, our ability to learn and adapt as our greatest strength. It's a powerful reminder that we're not just passive bystanders in this grand cosmic drama. We have a role to play in shaping the future. And that future can be one where humanity thrives, not just survives. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a sense of, well, responsibility. What about you?
I think that's the perfect note to end on. Rodier's work doesn't offer easy answers, but it does leave us with a profound sense of agency. We're all part of this grand evolutionary story, and the choices we make, both individually and collectively, will determine the next chapter.
So what will our chapter be? Will we continue to chase after endless growth, or will we choose a path of balance and sustainability? Will we succumb to the forces of entropy? Or will we harness our collective intelligence to create a brighter future? These are questions we'll leave you to ponder. Thanks for joining us on this mind-expanding journey through the thermodynamics of evolution.